to go through here. This right here is dealing with threat modeling. So if you look at CompTIA's main document that breaks out each one of the domains, look very closely, they will mention this threat modeling. Threat modeling is identifying and breaking down any kind of threat and communicating that to your organization, and then figuring out what can we do about it. We know that we've identified that we're in an earthquake zone. It's going to impact all of us. We have a server room over here. If this earthquake hits us, this server room could be taken out, our connection. What are we going to do in this case? Right? That's threat modeling in a very super simplified form. This type of thing is on the test. You need to know this, but it doesn't go super deep. I'm going to tell you the area that you need to focus on here. Let's get back on track right to here. All right. So the ones you need to know about are stride and pasta. All right. So stride, and I'll break these out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. I'm going to simplify it in such a way that you will not get this wrong on the test. So there's stride and there's pasta. All right. So stride, I'm going to give you a quick overview. Stride is dealing with a specific system. So when you think a specific system, what are my vulnerabilities? What are the threats? How do we identify the threats quickly on a specific system? Think stride. If you're thinking about overall how a business is going to protect themselves, the whole business, not necessarily just a system, how do we protect ourselves? You're going to use something like pasta. So let's go through these. So first, let's focus on stride. So stride, it takes a system, like takes a AI system or any kind of system. It doesn't have to be AI. Okay. So any system, but for the purposes of this, since we're talking sec AI, let's take an example of a AI system. So a hospital deploys a large language model, ChatGPT, Med, and they're using that for clinical decision support system. They submit the patient records into the system, encrypted or whatever, and it will give them a very good 96% accurate to help them make a decision on a patient on which way to move, right? So there's a system right there. It's based on a Linux infrastructure. It's using what I say, GPT or whatever. What are they going to do to figure out what the threats are? They're going to go through stride. This is how they do it. So first they're going to ask themselves, can somebody spoof our system? So would an attacker be able to clone the physician's voice to bypass our voice biometric? They're going to ask themselves, is it possible to spoof to get into this system? That's one threat. If the answer is, yeah, there's a 30% chance that could happen, what kind of controls are we going to do to make it so that they cannot, or it makes it very hard for them to do it? We can use multi-factor authentication. So not only do you have to use a voice, and have an additional step is a MFA that sends a key to your phone or to a fob or some kind of other device. And you have to use that code to get in. And now we've mitigated or limited that particular threat, that particular risk. And then let's go to T. Right. So we're going to stride. We just covered the S. Now let's go to T, and that's tampering. Can somebody tamper with our large language model to get in? So can an attacker poison our retrieval augmented generative system to manipulate the files that our system uses, the documents it uses for the chatbot to respond to, say, pharmacists? Right. So can they get in there? And maybe the answer is, yeah, there's a 20% chance that somebody could do this. How are we going to protect against it? As cybersecurity people, we're going to think to ourselves, how do we protect against this? One thing that I didn't list here is access controls. You can use access controls to make it so that they can't access those files. But another thing is data integrity, hashing. There's ways you can make this system hardened, so it's going to be much harder to just tamper with this thing. Then you got repudiation. Now we're on the R. Repudiation means deny performing an action. So you won't be able to go into the audit trails or the logs and erase all the logs, for example. You can't say that you didn't do an action because those logs are still going to be there. You can't go through and delete those logs and cover your tracks. They're still going to be there. But what's our risk there? We're thinking to ourselves, if we have this LLM system, how we know that this is possible for somebody, it is possible for somebody to change this feature, but what can we do? So the clinical AI makes wrong recommendations. No log exists on what prompt was sent, what context was retrieved, and what the AI actually said. So somebody went in and erased the logs because we didn't have they were able to get into the audit trails and delete them. So what can we do? We can make it so that number one, we can make it so that nobody can access those logs. We can make those logs immutable, meaning nobody can change them. The only way to change it would be to erase the entire system and start from scratch, like a blockchain. Like a blockchain makes it so that you can't ever change it unless you fork the entire blockchain into something else that's different, and then you can change it, right? That's what immutable means. You cannot change it. So we can make the logs immutable. That right there handles this particular risk. So let's go to I. This is information disclosure, unauthorized data exposure. So there is a risk of data exposure because we're keeping people's healthcare records. Maybe some of that data leaks out and people see patient records, right? Their blood type, all that kind of stuff, what the medical diagnosis was, all that. So what can we do? Maybe we can encrypt it, or we can do something called differential privacy, where you do some mathematical algorithm so that the privacy is skewed so people can't see it. So there's things we can do, or maybe we can make it so that we are not even using a cloud-based system. So it's all internal. Our whole language model, we're using a local language model or a small language model that is not allowed to go outside, does not allow data of any type to go into a cloud of Amazon or a cloud of Azure or Microsoft or anything. D, denial of service. A denial of service is just making it so that the services are unavailable. So how would you do this on a AI system? You could just send out a whole bunch of API calls over and over again, flood the system so that nobody else can use it, and then boom, voila, you've done a denial of service attack. But what can we do? What kind of controls can we do as cybersecurity people? We can do a rate limit. We can do token limit. We can do cost monitoring alerts. So those are all things that you can do to control that particular threat. And then the last one, E, elevation of privileges. Somebody gaining unauthorized permissions on your system. How do we do this? So the LLM agent with excessive agency autonomously accesses prescription system and orders medicine without human approval. What can we do about this? We have an agent that, what can we do as cybersecurity people, AI security people, is control the privileges of the agent. So we're making sure that agent doesn't have access to certain things because that's too permissive. It can do too much. We might also do a human in the loop for prescriptions. Maybe it does have access to prescriptions, but in order to take action, like order the pills, it has to go through a pharmacist. And that person has to say, yep, go ahead and order it. And then that alleviates that. So let's look at pasta real quick. I'm not going to go through all of pasta because once you see what I see, it'll make a lot of sense. So that's Stride. Stride is a threat model. Okay. So the other threat model you need to know for the purposes of the CompTIA Sec AI Plus is PASTA. PASTA stands for Process for Attack Simulation and Threat Analysis. So here's the difference. And this right here is very clear. If it comes up, you'll know. Okay, so check this out. So where Stride breaks down it's based off of a system. You take a system and you say, okay, here's the type of things that can go wrong on this particular AI or a large language model, or even cloud or networking or database or whatever you have, right? You can use it on any one of those. But it's saying, okay, we've got spoofing that can go wrong, information disclosure that can go wrong, escalation of privileges that can go wrong. Pasta flips all this, it flips the script. It's a little bit different. in that it's a process that your organization's going to ask questions to figure out what is important to us and what are we protecting. We're not going to go through some kind of a list of threats, but the first thing we need to do is what are our objectives? What are we trying to do? Right? That's the first thing we're going to ask. So, in the context of AI, what we're asking is we're going to identify the AI system's purpose. What sensitive data is on that system? What regulatory obligations do we have? Is it HIPAA? Is it GDPR? Is it Sarbanes-Oxley? Is it PCI DSS? Is it risk management framework? What is it? What are we doing? Do we have some kind of a security policy in place that covers this? What are our objectives and on this AI system? What is the purpose of it? So let's say we answer that question. Now, our next question is the technical scope. What are all the components of our AI system? Are we using Anthropic? Are we using a local model that was built off of Olama? Does it have a RAG that's reaching into a database? What is it? What are all the components? The next stage, let's say we have all that. We have a network diagram, we have a data flow, all the engineering specs, everything's good. The next step is we're going to decompose the system. Okay, what is the data flow and the boundaries that we're dealing with? Now that we have the scope, we know what the AI consists of. What are the actual components? We're going to go a little bit deeper and decompose all this stuff. You kind of see where this is going, right? So, PASTA focuses on us as an organization. What are we really protecting? Once we know what our scope is and what our boundary is, we're going to look at what are the vulnerabilities of all those components. What kind of attack? Now we're getting into attacks. Now that we know the vulnerabilities, how can somebody attack those vulnerabilities? And then what are we going to do about it? What's the risk and impact analysis? Pasta is used in most organizations they don't call it pasta in the federal spaces that I've been to. They haven't used those words, right? Something maybe on some paper somewhere comes up. But this is exactly what we do. So when you're thinking about an organization and what can they do to quickly come up with a way to manage risk and deal with threats and do threat modeling, think of pasta. If you have an individual system where you have to enumerate and go through line by line, spoofing, now we're going to look at information disclosure. Now we're going to look at repudiation. Now we're going to look at if you're thinking that way, that is stride. Okay, so that's the difference. Both of those are called threat models, and the reason why you'll see these on the test is that they'll do comparisons. They'll say, okay, you've got this and this. Which one is pasta? Which one is MITRE Atlas? They'll do something like that. I would read through these. I would know these like pasta. This is not hard to remember. It's pretty straightforward. I would know stride. And of course, all the other ones, the differences between each one of these that we've gone through. That's what I would really know. And that really concludes this portion of the training. I'm going to go through all of this. My plan is to go through every single domain and subdomain of